It is day 12 inside Euro 2024. It is truly a spectacular day. There is not a cloud in the sky. The sun is blazing down on the old town of Cologne. Must be about 85 degrees. And there's quite possibly about 50,000 English fans milling around in various stages of undress. I'll take a walk. And there's flags everywhere. Emery Park, don't know where that is. West Brom, certainly know who they are. Oh, Millwall, obviously looking a bit tasty. Grimsby Town, Middlesbrough. Balls are being kicked up in the air. Here's Derby County on tour 2024. The beer is flowing. And right now, a good time is happening by all. Here you can hear the fans with one of their latest chants. Yeah, I'll leave it for you. All very good natured stuff right now, ahead of the Slovenia game, which is going to be played at Cologne Stadium. Still not sure about a match ticket, but I'm sure where there's a will, there's a way. Here in Cologne, they've actually built another fan zone area down by the Rhine, which looks quite spectacular because they are expecting a huge overflow of fans. I've seen a few Slovenian fans dotted around here and there. They're pretty thin on the ground, though. It definitely feels very English. England currently top of Group B. And really, destiny's their own hands. I think the question on everybody's lips, and we'll ask around, is just, will Southgate release the handbrake? And can the England players, can they finally get rid of the weight of the shirt and perform like we know they can, because they are a team of world-class performers. So, lots to discuss today. It's going to be a great fun. Really looking forward to
it. Tim Powell from Southwest London.
Tim, how many years have you been following England?
About nearly 40.
And what does it cost you to follow England? Is it very, very expensive?
What, over the whole 40 years or just this one? Yeah, it's not cheap, but we don't stay in 5-star hotels, put it that way.
And this particular trip to Germany, what is your experience so far? When did you get here? What games have you seen?
Well, I got here yesterday, so this is the first game I'm seeing, and then we're going to hopefully see all the ones afterwards, right up to the final. I've got accommodation booked.
And what's the reaction back home to the performances so far?
Not particularly positive. You would think that we were bottom of the group to listen to some of it, but we can only get better, let's say.
Well, I was talking to Jeff Shreves yesterday, and he was talking about the weight of the shirt. What does the weight of the shirt mean to you?
Well, maybe they should get lighter ones, yeah.
No, I'm the one telling the jokes here, okay? But seriously, we got world-class players, and yet they seem terrified to play. What's your opinion on that?
And I don't think Gareth Southgate is telling them score and then drop back for 80 minutes. I think they will improve as they go through the tournament. We don't always play well against some of the poorer teams, and then we meet the better teams and don't play very well against them either.
What is the best part about supporting England on the road?
Just everything. The culture, going to different countries, meeting people that do podcasts.
I'm Paul Kiley. I'm from Essex, but I live in France.
What's the experience like? Is it got a little routine to it?
It's different every time, different nuances. The last couple of years have been good. I thought this one was going to be the one, but after the last few games, I'm not so sure now.
Tell me about your travel. How'd you get here?
I had a nightmare, mate. I went from Monday, where I live in southern France. I drove all the way over to Bilbao, took a flight up to Munich, took a flight from Munich to Düsseldorf, and then took the train down to Cologne. I got up at 4 a.m. to come here. And I just hope I'm not that client on his head at like 9 o'clock at night. I could be.
I've seen that one. It's a classic, isn't it?
I've seen it, yeah.
Looking at this current squad, you know, we're all waiting for them to burst into life, and a lot of things have been pointed at Southgate. Now, in some respects, Southgate is probably the manager that's made us fall in love with the England team again.
Yeah.
What has he got to do to prove that he knows what he's doing?
I don't know if he needs to prove anything. I mean, you've got to back him what he's done the last few years. But like coming into this tournament before the Bosnia game, before the Iceland game, I was like, oh, we're going to do it this year. I'm going to get the tickets in. I'm there. I'm going to do it. And now I'm like, disappointment in those build-up games. But then I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And then the 2 games leading up to it, but the Denmark game, we weren't nowhere near it. I'm just hoping that he's bringing us all into a full sense of security, and then we're just going to wing it at the end, and we're just going to beat Slovenia tonight, and then go on to big and beyond, and be like when Owen and co scored that 5-0 win in Germany. Like maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll be there this year. But I don't know. I'm looking at Spain, and I'm thinking they're looking tasty, but no one else is really doing anything. Like France are looking pretty tired. I think we could. Maybe we'll get there. If we win tonight, it'll be Italy and then France, and then into the final with Germany, hopefully not Spain.
All of us could come together and be supersonically positive from this moment, that positivity could transfer itself to the players.
Yeah, I do so. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, you know, they got a bit of a booing the other day, yeah. So they're going to be down on their head. So we need to lift them. We need to all be around lifting them up. And that's one of my probably biggest criticisms since being an England fan. Reading the red tabloids, we just kick them when they're down. We don't really support them, and it's been nice to see since Gareth's taken over the last few years. We have actually come together as a nation and supported them. Maybe not so much in the media, but I think that's what we're all going to be there. There's going to be 20,000 England fans cheering them on, and hopefully they can do it. I'm expecting them to win, and I'm expecting them to win big. I think we could be 3-0 tonight, and we should be.
Let me tell you, I was at Frankfurt. Okay, at the end of the game, all the Danish fans stayed behind, and all the England fans, they all pissed off, and it was really noticeable because the whole stadium red, and then blank seats, and I just couldn't help but feel like if I was an England player, I think that might hurt a little bit.
Well, it will hurt a little bit, but I'll tell you what, I'm a West Ham fan. And I don't know if you remember the Arsenal kicking that we got a 5-1 kick and everyone left early. Now, like when we all left early, everyone's going, oh, West Ham fans, what are you doing? All a bunch of like Muppet fans. But we weren't Muppet fans, we're die-hard fans. No one that comes all this way to watch an England fan.
It's getting closer and closer to kick-off. And the beer, it's certainly beginning to kick in. Just take a listen.
We're supposed to be tournament favourites. We should be in there with them, but we're not. So, I'm expecting big things tonight.
It's getting closer and closer to kick-off. And the beer, it's certainly beginning to kick in. Gotta love the songs and the opinions of the England fans. Well, I did say to you earlier that I was relying on the credential gods to get me into the game tonight, and they failed me miserably. I'm not on the list. And as you all well know, if you're not on the list, you can't come in. So, thankfully I was on a bicycle, one with an electric power, jumped back on the bicycle, rode back into the centre of Cologne, and went to a fan fest. And I can tell you this, I'm sort of glad I wasn't at the game. Yeah, the atmosphere at the stadium seemed pretty good, but once again the performance certainly leaving a lot to be desired. And even at the Fan Fest, I've got to say, the energy was very, very low concerning the England team. And the England supporters, once again, left very, very disappointed. So I think we're going to have to go back in time now, go back in history. Perhaps to when some of you weren't even born. Italia 1990. And if you remember that tournament, England started off appallingly against Ireland. Absolute travesty of a game in a 1-1 tie before coming back and tying Holland in a 0-0 game where Paul Gascoigne certainly burst onto the scenes. And then there was a pretty dour 1-0 win over Egypt that secured England's passage to the knockout rounds. And that's where it all started. They played Belgium, and that was a very good Belgium side with Schifo and Koulemans, and an absolute classic game in Bari that England won 1-0 in the very last kick of the game. It was destined for penalties, and there was a free kick. Gascoigne floated it in, and there was David Platt, to volley in a dramatic last-minute winner, and the team caught fire. Great game against Cameroon that could have gone either way before the heartache against Germany in the semi-finals. Yet another penalty shootout. Disaster for the Three Lions. But I think it goes to show that one game can change an entire tournament. One game can change the mentality. And we're seeing right now that the English support is pretty indifferent. They're falling out of love with Gareth Southgate, and really he was the one responsible for many of the fans falling back in love with the England team. Now, whether Southgate can be brave enough to make the right choices, I think that remains to be seen. We did see that the Trent Alexander-Arnold experiment didn't work, and Southgate went with Conor Gallagher. I think we saw that experiment didn't work, and then he went with Kobbie Mainoo, and that experiment did work. So will Southgate take note and say, you know what, I'm going to try something different and give the youngster a start? He's certainly got the composure for it. And then secondly, another one of his substitutes, Cole Palmer, who really was sensational for Chelsea this year, came on and really looked the part. I mean, every time he got the ball, he wanted to do something positive. He wanted to make something happen. And that's something that's been missing from this English team. So you ask yourself, well, who has to drop out? Well, it seems like Jude Bellingham is untouchable. Phil Foden was actually one of our better players. And so perhaps Cole Palmer comes in on the right-hand side, a little bit out of position. And I think that's one of the problems that England is having right now, though, is players out of position. But Palmer did okay on the right-hand side. And then I think the other conundrum and the other big question facing Southgate is what to do with Harry Kane. Yes, he is England's top goal scorer in the competition, but then again, one goal doesn't make you a superstar. Just ask Jude Bellingham. But Kane has really looked off the pace. Now, that being said, during the last Euros, Kane was stuttering and struggling, and then what does he do? He scores against Germany, and now he's off and running. And he is a goal scorer that's what he does. He's England's captain, record goal scorer. I don't think there's any way that Southgate says, you know what, Harry, take a rest. So I think we'll be left with Kane up front. But let's take a look at Cole Palmer. Let's take a look at Kobbie Mainoo. Maybe, as he did towards the end of the game, he moved Walker over to left back and brought Trent in at right back. I mean, yeah, Walker's playing out of position, but the guy's so quick. Does it really matter? And right back is obviously Trent's preferred position, and that's where he excels for Liverpool. So Southgate's got to be brave. It's as simple as that. And, yeah, well, dreadful performance, wasn't it? Really awful. England are, without doubt, one of the worst teams in the tournament in terms of the pleasing on the eye nature of football. Well, that's me done for today. tomorrow I am off to Frankfurt for the dead rubber between Romania and Slovakia. It's a dead rubber because they both already qualified. So goodness knows what kind of game we're going to see there. Anyway, bye for now.